Guys, what is up? It's Welcome back to another video, boys. Today we are doing a deck setup for Legendary Life Offensive Ranked and Legendary Fire Offensive Ranked. Now, there are many possibilities that can be tweaked and fixed to your liking in this video, so please don't think that, you know, I'm gonna set the standard for Legendary Fire, Legendary Life, because there's always someone in the comment section, bro, that's like, bro, like, your deck setup is trash, this, and that, that's why you've, your 9 losses, like, bruh, and I'm just like, dude, like, it's like, this game was made in, this game's graphics, like, this game, it's Wiz, like, calm down, alright? Anyways, so, yeah, deck setup and gear setup, by the way. Gear as well. We're going to get into the gear first, then the deck setup, and we're doing fire first. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the 12 days of WizMAS Marathon, by the way, day 5, not forgetting, day 5 today, deck and gear setup. So if you are enjoying the 12 days of WizMAS Marathon, please drop that fat like, because I do look at all the likes and the feedback on the video, and I try to reply to as many comments as possible. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. The Dragon Broken's setup for ranked. Now, there are 2 robes that I like to run depending on how I'm feeling. If I want to go a little bit more in and out and a little bit more resist, even though it's not much more resist and much more in and out, then I do rock the Waterworks robe, because the robe that I'm rocking right now is the zigzag robe. Now, for fire, you want to have all of your zigzag gear, and by all of it, I mean your hat mainly, and your robe. The boots, you don't really need them. For all schools, the boots are really just not good, which is right here. They give a lot of in and out, I guess, to make up for the low damage and low resist, but other than that, they don't give any power pip, they don't give any crit, nothing like that, nothing crazy, so wouldn't suggest going for those unless you were doing some crazy strat for maybe life, because they still give mass in and out, or mass incoming for life, but for fire, they're not really that good. So for the hat, you want the zigzag robe, or zigzag hat. Why did I say hat and then say robe? I don't even know. Okay, well, for the robe, you want the zigzag robe. You can have the Waterworks robe, but you only want to rock this, really, if you're going to be using the Glendemming's boots, and you can't get the Dahlia's Sweltering shoes, which come from the Professor's Horde pack in the Crown Shop, which I think might be on sale right now at the time of this video, or only for the day that this video goes up, for the 12 days of the Spiral special going on for up to, I think, 50% off packs, if I'm not mistaken. So that's that. And other than this, again, Glendemming boots from Diego would suffice. If you don't have Glendemming or the Professor's Horde boots, then just run, where is it? I think I stitched over them, but just run Waterworks, because that's the main thing that you're going to be wanting to look for when you do Legendary PvP, or Legendary Fire, or Legendary in general, really, and you don't have any, like, pack gear. Just run Waterworks or Zigzag, so that's that. But the only pack item that you really need for fire, other than, like, the wand, well, which can vary, because I don't use the wand, I use the Staff of the Flashing Blades, is the Immortals Lore Pack wand, which gives, like, a May cast, and then some damage, and then some pierce, and whatnot. You guys know the gist. Yeah, but that's that. So, boots, Professor's Horde, wand. You want to go for the Staff of the Flash. People ask me, if I don't have Staff of the Flash, and I don't have, the Professors, or not the Professors, but, the, Immortals Lore Pack wand, what wand do I use, James? And to that, I say just use Skyrim Hosta. If you don't have Skyrim Hosta, just go talk to Professor Drake, get the quest, and run Mount Olympus once, and you're good. So do that all the way up until the point where you can get a better wand, because it gives 10 damage, and damage is good. So that's that. Your Athame, obviously, for the Athame and Ring, self-explanatory. You've seen it in every Legendary setup video. You want to have these things fully decked out with your 3% pierces, and your accuracy or power pit percent jewel in that triangle socket. Same thing for the tier socket and the square socket. It varies. The health, obviously, you want to buy from that guy over there, and the square socket you can also buy from that guy over there. So I mean, that's, you know, said and done. The amulet, however, right? So Legendary Fire, being how strong it is, or the potential, like the ability to have The potential to have a lot of damage today as a legendary fire really doesn't prompt you to want to run a life mastery, because even while I'm running this, the only reason I'm running this is for like the one life dispel in main deck, and in side deck I have like 3 TC satyrs, which I really don't need and don't use. Like, I use a satyr maybe once per 5 matches. That's how rare I use a satyr. But when I need to use it, I need to use it. So I do run life mastery because I'm still able to maintain over 100 damage without a damage amulet. So, and 3.3k health. So yeah, that's that. If you don't have a life mastery, right, and you want to rock a pretty good amulet, then I would either suggest this one. If you aren't a knight or don't have the tickets to buy this one, then I would just run lower zigzag and either get this or buy a fireblade amulet from the bazaar or one of the Zafaria amulet shops. So that's that. I've already covered ring pet. Now, I always tell you guys that pets are, you know, completely up to you. The pet that I run, however, is a triple double infoul with the last damage being socketed. So, I mean, you know, go for what makes you comfortable. In this day and age, though, you aren't going to reach over, I want to say, 2.2k rank without having some kind of like variation of wards on your pet. So as you reach 2k rank, I would probably switch off to something like double resist, storm ward, balance ward, ice ward, and then socket like a myth ward or something. I'm not too sure, or an extra storm ward like 10 or 15, because you aren't going to get too high into your rank, like, you know, the 2,500s and the 3,000s if you aren't running a defensive setup. And for fire, it's especially hard because fire doesn't have, you know, the ice of, or the health of ice and all that. So the mount, you want to really strive for the Gulcher mount, and it's self-explanatory. It's in the Gulcher's Horde pack at the Crown Shop. Or you can run a different mount that gives a different stat. But if you are really taking your stats seriously and you want a mount, or you want to equip everything that will benefit you, or something that will benefit you even in a slight way, then the Gulcher Horde mount is for you. Or just rock a stat mount in general, like the Crystal Horse from the one Miners bundle, Crystal whatever the hell. Pit Viper's Array of Venom. Now this is the best fire deck for legendary in the entire game, and when I say that, I'm not bragging, I'm actually being serious. You farm this from Balosh, and Balosh is a stone key boss in the House of Scales dungeon, right? And House of Scales drops stone keys. Also, if you're fire, you want Burning Rampage, so you really have to decide, if you don't have either of these, Burning Rampage or this deck, what you want to use the stone keys for if you are going to be running House of Scales a lot. Because you can use stone keys to farm a rampage, you can also use stone keys to farm for this. You might be able to get both quickly, but, you know, I doubt it, because it's complete Wiz RNG King's Isle. But yeah, that's that. So deck setup, right? Talk about it briefly. Stun blocks, tower shields. You don't have to run set shields. They're just there because fire and storm are ridiculously OP if given first or the advantage in a situation. Enchants, obviously, I have the ability to put more gargantuan, apologies, in here because of my deck, which is, you know, again, the best fire deck in the game for legendary. So I do suggest that you get it, because you're able to put more enchants of one type in at the same time. So instead of having, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gargantuan and then 2 monstrous, I can put 7 gargantuan and 1 monstrous. So just keep that in mind, and it counts for any other cards as well that aren't your school. So that's that. And then the 1 monstrous, because, you know, extra enchant. Life dispel, I wouldn't run a life dispel unless you have a life mastery. So if you aren't running a life dispel, then just put in like an extra infection or something. 4 brims, because you are running some inside and you don't want to clog your hand, so 4 is pretty good. 3 Ifrits, because you are also going to want to run Ifrits inside as well. Fire elves, I put 3 in. They're really good. You might want to enchant 1 and hold it to the side with either a monstrous or gargantuan. It doesn't really matter. Just 1, because it can come in handy in the long run in a match. Does massive damage, especially with an infoul or a bubble, or both. Does mass, like 600. Fireblade, it's not really needed, but if you can blade and get like an overtime going or like a big hit, it's doing mass, especially if you crit. So fire blades are really like a rarity if you can get one off and then attack with it. Fuel, this really is up to you. I mean, I only have it because it's really good for burning rampage and brim spam. So if I pull it, I'm most likely going to use it. If not, then I don't really need it. But it helps for combos a lot. It's actually really good. I know it costs 2 pips, but it's still really good. So Elephant, it's there for a hit. I haven't seen this cast in years, actually. Krampus, if you don't have Krampus, which most of you probably won't. Brim, however, is, you know, a necessity, but Krampus is not. If you don't have Krampus, I would just put in an extra Rampage, or if you don't have Rampage, then I would just put in like an extra Meteor, an extra Minion, an extra Reshuffle, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like a Link to get off, you know, weaknesses, towers, and infections, something like that. Just improvise. But ramps are kind of a necessity nowadays. It's just that you guys saw that shift rampage, you know, in the first episode of the WizMAS marathon. It was crazy, so just be careful. You know, these myths and people out here, even balancers are rocking like shift, myth mastery. It's crazy. Minions, self-explanatory, they're really good. They actually changed up the actions of the minions. They don't like smoke first round anymore that I've seen, which is, you know, sucks, but whatever. Phoenix, it's an off pit hit, 5 pips instead of, you know, 6 as Telephant is. Just want to rock one of them in case you fail pip but need to kill. Power Link, these are really good. Seriously, I'm telling you guys, Power Link is the way to go. Have at least 2 in, if anything, right? Super good. Sunbird, off pip hit, you know, fail pip, can't brim. Sunbird, 5 bubbles, it's 2 pips, boys. Why wouldn't you have any less than 5? Infections, self-explanatory. You know, you can't dispel spam people anymore, so infections are the way to go to keep people from healing. And then shuffle. So that is the fire rundown, right? I think I covered everything. Once again, or actually the TC deck, you know, it's however you want to set it up. But that's that. So on to life. All right, boys. So we are back on the legendary life, the Wild Broken. And let's just go ahead and give you the rundown of the gear, or the stats first of all, so I can just show you, right? 101 damage, pretty much 50 resist across the board, 3.5k health, 20 accuracy, pretty good, pretty good. Crit is not super good, but I mean 28, it's give or take, boys, let's be honest. Block is 24, which is actually really, really good, believe it or not. And then 18 pierce, which is also, I mean, really, really good. 16 in, 8 out, decent. Power pip as well, pretty decent. So how do I achieve these stats, James? Well, let me tell you, boys. The gear, it's pretty, it's spicy, I'm not gonna lie. Hood of the S-Spirit, I suggest this over the zigzag set because you get in and out. The crit is not really going to matter. You get 1 more damage with the House of Scales, which I mean, if you're really a stat enthusiast, I mean, you might want to go ahead, but it's just 1 extra damage. It's not really that much of a benefit. 2 accuracy, again, not much of a benefit. 3 power pip compared to the Hood of S-Spirit's 9, and then a tad bit more health. Boys, you really want the Waterworks hat, let's be honest. Waterworks robe, again, you want this over the House of Scales because, I mean, it's extra in and out. It's, you know, 2 more resist, you get block as well as crit. It's more health and more power pip percent, and it, you know, the House of Scales is just 2 more damage, so again, it's not really that much of a benefit. But if you are running a crit setup, then, or want to have options, then go ahead and, you know, get the House of Scales. There's nothing wrong with that. Boots, Lendemmings. If you don't have this, then Melinda's Spirit sandals. If you don't have that, then I don't think I have them, but Waterworks boots, right? Waterworks. So, whoa, some strong language going on over here. What the heck? Yo, William Frost. Anyways, so the wand, right? This is a pack wand, the Immortals Lore pack wand. If you don't have this, again, Staff of the Flashing Blades, or this, I guess, from the Professor's Horde pack if you are popping for the boots. For life, offensive life. And if you don't have any of those, you know, Mount Olympus, run it once, you get the Scour Hasta, 10 damage and a power pip. And the wands are fire, so you can get off weaknesses and not have to use, you know, your life traps or life blades. I don't know why you would be using life traps, but that's that. So, you know, again, a Thame and Ring duelist, right? If not, then run to the bazaar, buy something cheap, and then use that. Just spam tournaments and buy your stuff, because you don't have to be a warlord or a captain or any of that junk to get your Ring of Fame. Pet, you know, again, whatever you want. I run triple dub. I can also run enfeeble, infoul, double damage proof with the socketed extra damage. I can also run this, or this for crit kid setup, or this for Jade setup, but I'm not doing a Jade setup in this video, or this. I have a lot of life pets, you know, just letting you guys know that. And then the mount, life culture, obviously, or you can have any other mount that gives a stat if you're really, you know, stat enthusiast. But that's going to be it for the legendary life gear setup. So the deck setup, right? Offensive life, you want to have something like this. Now you'll notice that I don't have a lot of hits in this deck, and the reason is because life, with offensive life, you can't really do massive damage, like, you know, like that quick. So you want to have somewhat of a control deck. So you'll notice I have, you know, 4 blades in, I have minions in. I should probably put one more minion in, like substitute like a weakness for an extra minion. But I have minions in, I have a lot of heals in, so I have control over my health at all times. You know, triage, I have that in main, like 2 in. I have infallible because I don't pull it from side. I have infections in, you know, blades, and then weaknesses for controlling how much damage is dealt to me. So, you know, you want to pull your hits, you know, scarcely, because you don't want your hits clogging your deck. You know, with life, you have the luxury of having all heals naturally, so you want to use your training points for things like infallible, infection, you know, weakness, and you want to utilize them in your main deck. So, you know, only one big hit, and then the rest are just like control hits, and then the blades for Spinosaur, obviously inside, which this is what the side looks like. So these 2 spots would be filled with enchanted leprechauns. I just don't have them enchanted at the moment. I will when I start doing legendary life and ranked offensive life more often. But this is the overall setup you want. And I didn't cover the amulet, which Myth Mastery. That's what you want. If you don't have Myth Mastery, then run this. Shango's Lifeblade Amulet. It's in Zafaria, in the Baobab Market, or you can buy it from the Bazaar, I think. So yeah, run this if you can't get life or Myth Mastery. And I guess if you don't have Myth Mastery, then I guess don't run an Earthquake. That's the only thing I can say. The shifts, I mean the shatters rather, you can still use without a Myth Mastery and still combo into Spiny, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, other than that, this is around the TC setup you want, and the deck once again is the best legendary life deck in the game. You get it from Balosh. So I think that's gonna wrap up the gear and deck setups for life. Once again, the rundown of the stats: damage, resist, accuracy, health, crit, block, power pit, pierce, and that's going to do it for today's video. So once again, if you guys are enjoying the 12 days, pop a fat like on the video. Let me know that you guys want more 12 days of WizMAS Marathon PvP. You guys have been asking me for a deck setup and gear setup for Legendary Life and Fire, so I was like, you know what? Why not knock out both at once? But for now, this is going to be James giving you all the sign out. Catch you guys next time. Peace!
Just see those sleigh bells jingle and ring, tingle, tingle, ring.